What? Elvis has a whiskey? It's bourbon. It's whiskey. And if that's not enough, two for your trouble, we've got a rye as well, rye whiskey, and just straight Tennessee whiskey, not bourbon. Tennessee whiskey. I mean, he is from Memphis. Memphis is Elvis, Graceland, all that good stuff, and rye. But it is not Tennessee rye. Uh-oh. Controversy? Maybe. But let's dive in and find out exactly what they are, and more importantly, how they taste, because that's what we're here for. So, really quick, those of you who are hanging around, do you want to know about the rye or the whiskey first? The Tennessee whiskey or the rye first? What should we do first? I wanted to see one thing. Oh, okay. Devin Simmons wants the rye. Okay. A little bit of background on this, too, by the way. Grain and Barrel Spirits recently announced a long-term agreement with Elvis Presley Enterprises. The result of this agreement is a duo of Elvis Presley-themed whiskeys. Both expressions were sourced and blended by what's described as an expert team of whiskey experts and bottled in Tennessee. Okay, where Elvis began his career and called home. Both expressions feature an iconic photo of the king. Yeah, we don't care about the photos. And the labels feature references. Yeah, okay. Blended by an expert team of whiskey experts. Okay, sure. Well, Devin wants the rye. Let's go into the rye. So the rye, which is interesting, is all right here on the back. They don't tell you a ton, but they do give you at least the tertiary information. Distilled in Indiana, MGP. Bottled in Columbia, Tennessee. Aged at least 3 years. So we don't know the mash bill. It is a 3-year Indiana rye, right? That's what we know. The back, again, also doesn't, it's a lot of fluff about, Elvis Presley, long hail the king of rock and roll, blah, 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 blah. Literally, the back label doesn't talk about whiskey, which I get. I mean, Elvis isn't necessarily known for whiskey or anything. It's branding. It's, in cooperation with his family estate or whatever the hell it is. But it's literally no talk of whiskey on the back of the label. In fact, on either one, it's Elvis facts. It's just Elvis facts. Looking on their actual passion spirits, which is where they're selling it through, they do have mash bills here. So for this one, oh God, I cut my finger. Apologies to those at home. So this, as you might expect, is a 95.5 rye from Indiana, MGP 95.5 rye. So 3 years old. I don't think we're going to get any surprising notes here. If you've ever had an MGP 95.5 rye, younger rye, I think you're going to know what to expect. This is 90 proof, MSRP of $49.99. So let's take a look. Quick look at the color there. It's light, but looks a little bit darker. I'm looking at it on camera. It looks a little bit darker on camera than it looks to me in person. So Strong, grassy, herbal notes for sure. Hay, pine, black. This is a lot of that tea, like almost Earl Grey tea. Spice, black pepper all day long. Very standard rye whiskey. 3-year MGP 95.5 rye. Tis what it is, what it is, what it is. Pretty simple. Let's take a sip. Nice spice. It's very light at 90 proof, which I don't hate. Kind of checking out, lingering on the finish here. I don't know. Like a medium-ish finish. Decent amount of spice, you know what I mean? But there's nothing jumping out at you, making you go, ooh, or ah. It's 3-year MGP rye. It's nice. 90 proof, it's nice. It's nice. That said, $50 for a 3-year MGP rye. While I understand the whiskey market is, exploded and is on fire and everything right now, to me, for a 3-year 90 proof rye, let's ask. I'm not going to, excuse me. I'm not going to sit on my couch and sip this. I don't think it's not that layered yet. You know what I mean? I think this will make a great cocktail whiskey. It's got that 95.5, which I think is amazing. Honestly, for the same price, you can get New Riff Rye, which I think is a little bit more bold and interesting. Similar mash bill, but made all by them. This is fine. I would pay 35, maybe $40 for the maybe. And I think it would make a really nice, old fashioned or Manhattan, anything you would use rye whiskey, like a good pure rye. But I wouldn't be sipping on this neat for long periods of time. That said, let's check out the Tennessee whiskey. Now, this is real young, right? So this is 2.5 years old. 2.5-year-old Tennessee whiskey, which is very similar to bourbon. This one we also do actually have a mash bill on. And it is not. It's close, but lo and behold, it is not from our friends at Tullahoma. This is a mash bill of 80% corn, 10 rye, 10 malted barley. It's very close to, let's just say it, Dickel. It's very, very close to that. Dickel is famously known 84, 8, and 8 is their mash bill. 84 corn, 8 barley, 8 rye. This is 80, 10, 10. So just minusculely different. Minusculely different. I'm curious to see if we've got some Flintstone vitamin notes. Because I don't think it's just not simply just the mash bill from Dickel that gives it that. There's got to be something else in their process. Yeast, fermentation, whatever. So all it says, distilled and bottled in Columbia, Tennessee. So this might be there, unless there's a small distillery in Columbia that they're sourcing from. I'm not sure. Let's see. 2.5-year, 80% corn, essentially bourbon, but it is Tennessee whiskey. So we do know it goes through the Lincoln County process. I okay, so my first note out of the bottle, admittedly, fresh crack, paper. Paper is the note I'm getting. I'm gonna whip it up a little bit. I don't like doing this a ton, but okay. We're getting a little bit more like whiskey notes now. Some light fruit, like light a green apple kind of thing. Yeah. Green apple, caramel, light sugar, like a brown sugar. A little ethanol. I mean, it's young, it's rough. Let's take a sip. Hmm. Got some bite. I mean, it's 2.5 years old. Got a little bit of bite. It's got some interesting, like vanilla cocoa kind of notes. It does not taste like Dickel, which is nice, even though it's a very similar mash bill. It's kind of a one note whiskey, which you know what? At 2.5 years in the barrel, I kind of wouldn't expect anything less. I wouldn't expect it to be super deep or layered. It's got some nice, like I said, kind of rich, chocolatey almost notes. They go away quickly, but they're there. Decent amount of little spice. Honestly, that's better than I thought it would be. For real. That's also 90 proof. It's not bad. It's interesting. It reminds me a little bit, just like a tiny bit. It's a totally different process, but it reminds me a little bit of Chattanooga, Tennessee whiskey. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. That said, $50 for a 2.5 year Tennessee whiskey. I understand the reasoning. I understand the reasoning. I understand the reasoning. You're new corporation, whatever. I know you're sourcing, you're doing whatever. You're new. You got overhead, and it's a growing whiskey market. The price is going this way in general anyway. But $50 for a 2.5 year Tennessee whiskey, 90 proof. I'm not a proof snob. I'm just saying. It seems like it's an asking a lot. I'm gonna stop saying things like, well, when Wild Turkey 101, I know I've said that a lot. Wild Turkey 101, or even like Russell's 10 year, right, is on the shelf for $35, $40 everywhere in America. Why would I pay $50 for a 2 year freaking essentially bourbon? Seems silly. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I mean, those big heritage distilleries got scale on their side. They've been in the business decades. They can get that price down, all that stuff. They have the stocks, they have the scale. So I'm not going to begrudge anybody who's new, who doesn't have that leverage, who doesn't have that history. I'm not going to begrudge them that and be like, well, you should be charging less than Wild Turkey 101 because yours isn't as aged well, or it's not as proofed as well, and all this stuff. No, it's a totally different, totally different environment. That said, though, $50 is still a high ask for this. Now, if you gave me something 4 years old, maybe bottled and bond, maybe 100 proof, 50. 50 might be a fair ask. Excuse me. As it stands, I can't recommend this one at $50. The rye is fine. The rye is fine. It's 3-year MGP rye. It's fine. It's if you know what? If you really like Elvis, I'm gonna do that. Like the people's elbow, something like that, or the people's eyebrow. It's like the Elvis. Well, thank you very much. Uh-huh. These prices got me all shook up. Uh-huh. So if you really like Elvis and you're a collector, throw them on your shelf. It's $100. You know what? If you're a devotee, that might be nothing to you. So throw down and grab it. But as whiskey fans, I imagine you're not going to be drawn to this anyway because you're all about nerding out about the quality and the make and everything like this. This is more of I think, a tourist play. This is more of a collector play. This is more of an Elvis, music play kind of thing. While they would like us to be satisfied as whiskey fans, we are not the audience. So the rye is fine. $50 is a little high for what it is, but it's perfectly fine. The whiskey, the Tennessee whiskey, was better than I expected for 2.5 years old, but $50 is still a very high ask. So if you're a collector, go for it. If you're not, I wouldn't worry about it. That's it.